Welcome to the Greater Brockton Library Poetry Series. My name is Harry Williams. I'm the Library Director in Brockton, and it's my great pleasure to introduce this month's feature, Carol Simmons Oles. Carol, welcome to Brockton.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you here. I'd like to ask you some questions. Some of them were provided by some of our high school students who are really curious about poets and writers.
Okay.
And the first one would be, what influences made you the person you are that weren't writers and poets, but other kinds of things?
Oh, obviously my parents, of course. I think my teachers. And I have to say, and it's not just because we're in a library, but I think librarians. Because my parents were working class people, they were not highly educated. We didn't have a lot of books at home. And the library was a very important part of my education, forming my love of reading and love of literature.
Oh, thank you for saying so.
I know,
because,
I'm not just saying it because
yeah.
we're here, it's really true. And I hope that libraries still mean that sort of thing to young people today.
I hope so,
There are a lot of other influences, as we know. But.
And what kind of things in your early experience led to you becoming a poet?
Well, it's hard to say exactly, but I didn't think of myself seriously as a poet until I was a grown-up and had two small children and so on. So I was a closet poet before that, I suppose from my teenage years.
Oh, fantastic.
I think that's when a lot of people start to write, when they're filled with all kinds of turbulent emotions and so on. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, can you be in a sad mood and write a happy poem?
That's a really interesting question. I think, I'll say it another way, I think in my work anyway, that I'm more likely to write about things that bother me. Happiness, I think, is a feeling that you just enjoy and don't necessarily write about, unless it's, a particular lyric moment or something where you're just seized by the urge to write something. But I think my mood certainly influences what comes into the poem.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, if you, for some reason, couldn't express yourself through poetry, how do you imagine you would? What outlet do you think you would find for your creativity and your thoughts and feelings?
Perhaps drawing, perhaps art. I've always wanted to play a musical instrument, but I have to wait till my next life to do that. So I love music, and I think that would be a way if I had the skill now.
Fantastic. And this is more of a big one. What is your opinion of the state of poetry in America today?
I think it's a very rich mix of things, and I love to see so many young people get involved with reading and writing poetry. I think that there are many arts programs in the schools that reinforce people's interest in writing poetry. And I think maybe more than ever in times that are very turbulent, as they are in the world, as we know, that poetry has a very important place for expressing feelings that we can't resolve any other way, put into language and can somehow control them.
That's neat. And just as a last thought, for that would-be poet, young or young at heart, any special advice, words of suggestion on next steps for some of the things they might want to be a poet?
Well, this is almost a cliche because everybody who writes says it. You have to read a lot. Reading is a very important part of giving you a sense of the possibilities of language that you can use as a writer. So they have to read all the time, and all kinds of things, I think. And I think also they have to be brave about writing about things that they may want to keep secret. And sometimes those are the things that most need to be written about.
Nicely said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you were able to come join
here.
us here in Brockton. Thank you for being with us.